We know that carrying your groceries out to your car seems a bit old school. That saying hello and asking about your day feels like a thing of the past. Being best at fresh, it's not just a fad. Serving high-quality meat at affordable prices? Talk about a throwback. But at Fairway, that's kind of our thing. Because some things never go out of style. Friendly at Fairway. It's more than just a name.
What's the guarantee? Eric?
Mike, time to make history. Players in Circa Million make 5 picks against the spread each week with quarterly and full season payouts.
Circa Survivor entries choose one team each week with no point spread. The last one standing wins it all.
We have $21 million on the line. Are you in? Visit circasports.com for details.
This fall, the Sandman, Adam Sandler, You're My Best Friend Tour.
I feel like we're very good friends now.
Casey Center, Saturday, October 4th. Get tickets now at HiVTix.com.
2 guys, 2 Chris's, 1 network. Iowa Everywhere. It's time for 2 Guys with Chris Williams and Chris Hassel. Presented by Fairway Meat and Grocery from the Channel Seed Studios. Where? Everywhere. Live and always on demand at Iowa Everywhere.
What up? It's Monday, the 25th.
Jesus, Williams.
What? What's your problem?
You're coming in hot, man.
Is it my mic?
What up? It's Monday. Jeez, you win one game.
Look at that. Look at that get up you got today, too. It's
Well,
football season, and you're talking F1 on your shirt. Jeez.
I wore this because this was a gift our friend Jeff Kelderman gave me. He came back from Vegas with the Iowa Everywhere crew, and he gave me this as a gift. So I thought I would wear it to thank him.
What is that?
It's a Red Bull Racing hoodie, and it's cold here, as you know.
Like the Red Bull F1 team?
Yeah. I thought that was very nice of him. He gave it to me as a gift. Isn't that nice? Triple B.
Everybody did a good job out there in
yeah.
in Vegas. You did a great job in Ireland. Good to have everybody back. Like, we all switched spots. Like, I was in Iowa. Much of the crew was in Vegas. You were in Ireland. You fly back to Iowa. I fly out of Iowa. And everybody in Vegas flies back to Iowa, too. It's like everybody was avoiding me. I was one of the few Iowa Everywhere people that actually watched that game in Iowa.
Which is wild.
I did.
Van Woke did, yeah. You're always...
Had a great group of
You're always steady.
watching the game.
I'm so ready for some season routine.
Oh my God! Tell me about it. I bet you I put on 10 pounds on that trip to Iowa just eating a bunch of junk and drinking a lot of junk.
I never felt that bad drinking because I'm pretty much all I drank was Guinness.
And you were walking around a lot with those alpacas.
Oh, dude, I was getting 15, 20,000 steps a day consistently out there because we were just on the move the whole time. So, no, I am so glad to be back, though. That flight back would have been miserable had Iowa State lost.
I can't imagine what that must have been like for K-State fans.
Oh,
yeah, man, everything changed with that. The game was there for the taking, totally up in the air mid-third quarter. And it was like, who's going to take it? Who's going to take it? This is going to basically impact your daily mood for the next month if you're an Iowa State fan and that entire team. And to get that, man, I'm jealous of Iowa State fans right now because you're on top of the mountain of college football before things even kick off for most teams. You're sitting there at the top of the standings waving down on everybody. You just beat one of the favorites in the conference. And you did it in a national spotlight. It looks like it was just a blast for the thousands of people who made that trip. I'm jealous.
it was fun, and it would have been equally bad had they lost because it's like I think I've compared this and Iowa State has been in this spot when they lost to UAB in the NCAA. It was the first game of the NCAA tournament, and then you lose, and you're supposed to enjoy the rest of it. Like Thursday night, like I love the opening Thursday night of college football. We'll have Nebraska, Cincinnati this year. There's a bunch of good games on Thursday and Friday, and I just would have been like pissed the whole time. I wouldn't have even looked forward to them had Iowa State lost that game. And it's the opposite now. I got home last night. I was up for, I think, 39 straight hours. But I had to watch the game back. I was so proud of my 10-year-old, or my 6-year-old, who I just dropped off at kindergarten and bawled like a baby. I'm sure that...
You're proud of her for bawling like a baby on her first day of
bawled
school?
like a baby. She didn't bawl like a baby.
Okay.
I did. But last night she wanted to watch the game back with me before she went to bed. And I was like, yeah, hell yeah. So
what was it like watching that game? So on TV, the presentation was tough because the field was in such rough condition. You couldn't even see the lines. Hassel was pointing out the first down line wasn't there half the time. And
it didn't.
What was it like in the stadium?
I did note it. Watching it back, it looked a lot worse on TV than it did in person.
Really?
The lines, yeah.
It was a tough watch, I'll be honest. Like, especially that first half, because
the mouths weren't matching up with the.
Well, that was pregame, yeah. They got that fixed when the game started.
It's a weird setup, though, guys. You're in like this soccer stadium, like our press box. Like, there's no press box. You're in the open air with all the people, which I kind of like. It's kind of nice.
Drinking beers,
dude. There's European media drinks as they work. I learned that.
That's hilarious.
They just kept going and getting more.
It's like coffee. It's like coffee to them.
Yeah, I sent you guys a picture. You saw it. Like they just drink.
The weirdest thing for me in that stadium was how the end zones, there were barely any people sitting there. Like at a soccer game, I guess you'd think like when you want people packing in the where the goals are to make it loud.
I think it's used mostly for like Gaelic.
Yeah, it's rugby Gaelic and soccer.
Like they're
whatever
not,
the hell.
Ireland's not a big soccer place. It's like rugby and Gaelic stuff. Williams is a big fan of Gaelic stuff. But I thought that the worst part about the whole thing was that what were they just like dusting the yard lines onto the field with chalk? Like what?
Well, I do have perspective here.
My God, you couldn't see anything. And I think that might have hurt Kansas State late in that game on that reviewed spot. There's no way you can overturn that call because you can't even tell where he's at on the field.
I don't know. And it was a fairly dry week in Ireland, too. It wasn't like it just rained. That was the first rainy day we had in Ireland when we were there.
You're that game. You're putting on that game. That kind of show.
I agree with you.
You've got to be ready for rain.
Absolutely.
You've got to be ready for it.
It was slippery, though. I mean, it does. You factor in week 0 and then all that rain, and it does make sense that those teams were so sloppy in the first half. Like, Jake Brind was down on the field, and Bloom was too. And I talked to him like it was wet, and it was slick, and it was hard to. I'm sure it was difficult to hold on to the football.
Clearly, it was difficult.
I am glad to be back because I can get some real meat, Fairway Meat and Grocery. I was so pissed at.
I got some incredible Fairway Meats last week.
I was so pissed at Carper and Cooper. We're in Northern Ireland, and they ordered a steak in Northern Ireland.
Oh yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that.
And
My dad made some great steak on the grill from Fairway. My brother-in-law Matt made some incredible pork chops on Friday night from Fairway. I was blessed to have some fantastic Fairway Meats back home.
We were in the Channel Seed studios. Shout out to all of our buddies at Channel Seed as well. I was really impressed with Iowa State, though. It kind of backed, Chris, what I know you took this note in your rundown, too. This is what I thought their offense would look like.
I like the look of this offense.
I do, too.
I know you've kind of given them shit about how you wish it was the air raid and all that, and you're using too many tight ends.
But when they're using the
3 and 4 tight ends on the field, but damn, I like the way that works.
Well, what's so fun about it, though, like the way they do it, it's very creative. Like, Bramer's not really like it. He's basically like a giant ass 6'7" wide receiver in the slot is how they use him. It's not. I don't have a problem with tight end usage except when it keeps everything in a box, right? That's when I don't like it. I like to spread the field and make the defense have to.
And that's
defend
what they
it.
can show. They can show that there can be completely multiple and
Yeah.
shift everybody out of that box. And all of a sudden, you are spread wide and you've got an advantage. And I think Mauser did a great job in that second half of utilizing that.
And I wasn't very happy at halftime because I felt like everything was just too tight. And like, again, against like Iowa, like you can't do that against Iowa, Kansas State. There's just a handful of teams that just, you're not going to like bully ball those type of programs. But in the second half, I thought their offensive line, looking back, a lot of it was like, oh, Carson Hansen's fresh, which is true, but the offensive line got better.
He had some huge holes to run through.
They got better and better and better as the game went along. After a tough first half, they didn't play well in the first half. Weren't opening any holes, gave up some sacks. But by the end of that game, Iowa State on both sides of the ball had completely worn. That may have been the best game Dominic Orange has ever played as a Cyclone. Didn't have a ton of stats, but at that position you don't. In the middle, there were plays I saw Doctorman pointed out, and Doc has a real eye for these. Doc had a couple of notes that Orange was taking on 3 blockers at a time. And that's his job, right? That's his role, and then it makes everybody else is able to free up. So, defensively, I don't know how you really could have asked for more for Iowa State other than those bombs, but
that's concerning. I mean, my God, you give up 2 of those in one game.
It is. They were guys playing their first game. You hope that they are correctable. You hope that you learn from that. The 20, the Cummings Coleman. So real talk here, they moved Jeremiah Cooper from safety to cornerback to get number 20, Cummings Coleman, the redshirt freshman, on the field. Because they just think he's that dynamic. And he got burned right there. He's bit too hard and didn't help. Good highlights there from Cyclone Fanatics, Jake Brendan. You'll hear him on Bigger Than 12 later this week on Iowa Everywhere, of course, as well. But no, they only one penalty, which was kind of a weird delay.
Well, that's where they won the game.
Defense.
That's how Iowa State won the game. They won it in the margins because even though they made all these mistakes in the first half and they didn't take advantage of Kansas State's mistakes, they only had one penalty for 5 yards, and it was it was a penalty that Matt Campbell disputed. And I don't know what happened on the field, but the defensive delay game, you're going to see that called a lot more this season.
Is that a note? Did they tell us that they're going to call that more?
It's kind of a point of emphasis now.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't know that.
And we'll be seeing more of that. But that was the only penalty they had. Kansas State had like 5 penalties for 45 yards, something like that. And on the flip side, you were perfect on 4th downs while your defense stopped Kansas State on 3 of 4 first downs. And that Matt Campbell was always preaching, we got to win in the margins, we got to win in the margins. And that was one of the things that for whatever reason, those Purdy teams and the Deckers year, they did not do that. A lot of those Purdy games came down to the last second in 2021, and they couldn't get it done. I mean, they lost, what was it? They had lost, 10 of 11 one-score games going into that Kansas State game in 2023 in the snow. And since then, they're 7-1 in those games because they are doing I didn't even mention special teams. Hey, yeah, you missed a field goal, okay? But special teams has been vastly improved over the last 2 seasons.
And to his credit, it was pouring. They probably shouldn't have put him in that situation to kick a 50-yard field goal in that rain.
And that's why
they should have
you had to go for it there at the end. I would have been pissed had they tried to kick a field goal there because I think you might lose the game. I mean, you kick a field goal, you only go up 6. Kansas State scores a touchdown to win.
Especially when your defense is leaking like that.
Yeah, you've had 2 major breakdowns on the back end. You go for it there. You keep the ball in the hands of your leader. You win the game. And a lot of credit to Matt Campbell for doing that. And I think, look, he just won his 100th game as a head coach in college football. And I thought that this was a real It was a culture win and a real like narrative win for Matt Campbell because he checked off so many things in that one game. He did so many things in that one game that he used to get killed for. Because you'd say, yeah, Matt Campbell has made Iowa State into a much better program, but they can't start off seasons well. You know, they lose early on in the season. They don't turn it on until October. They don't win in the margins. They'll lose a game because of a special teams mistake or too many penalties. Oh, can't beat Kansas State, right? Kansas State was Iowa State's kryptonite. Now he's won 5 of 6. And they didn't implode when they made some major mistakes. Like that was really concerning in that first half when you got the ball on the 1 yard line and you fumble it.
Yeah.
And then Rocco Becht fumbles again when he fails to see a blitzer coming.
He was not good in the first half.
No.
He had the one good drive where he was elite, but he really struggled in that first half. But then when the game was on the line and things mattered, he was elite. And that's why you can go for it on 4th and 3 like that, right?
Right.
And great insight after the game by Rocco. He told TV this and then was asked about it in postgame where Matt Campbell and Taylor Mauser, I assume, give him 2 plays and said, go read the line of scrimmage and make the call. And did you catch that part?
Yep.
Which is great. I mean, that's a guy with 30-plus starts now under his belt. And you can trust him. And I like what they do to a lot in short yardage where they're letting him run a little bit more. Again, and if you're going to play all these tight ends, then you do stuff like that. And I thought Mauser's game, and I just thought it was a brilliantly called game in the second half, especially. Just what was the most encouraging part to me is the fact that Iowa State's offensive line was able to wear another team down, a good team. Like Kansas State was the Vegas odds pick to win the Big 12, and he wore them down in the second
And where's
half.
Kansas State expected to be good? On the
front.
lines.
Yeah.
That's why I found it really interesting, and I don't know how much of this you guys saw on Twitter during the game. All these Iowa fans are like drawing conclusions that Iowa is just going to be able to dominate Iowa State on the lines of scrimmage. And I don't care what I saw in this game. I don't know that you can take much away from it because it's week 0 in Ireland on a shitty field in pouring down rain. Like a rivalry game. Like, can you really take a lot out of that movie? I don't know what you saw in this game, how much you can project forward.
Well, for me, it's just the depth of Iowa State's team. Like, let's talk about the defense, right? Like, the amount of guys they were playing at linebacker in the secondary. I mean, that was a great defensive performance. And like you said,
I would stop short of calling it great because you had 2 catastrophic breakdowns. Outside of those,
outside of those 2 plays, it was great.
You make those breakdowns against Iowa, you're not winning the game. If Iowa gets 2 60-yard touchdown passes over the top,
you think your quarterback will
down,
make that throw?
I'm just saying, if you make that mistake against Iowa, you give Iowa 2 free touchdowns, you're not going to win that game.
Probably right, because the Cyhawk game is always a 3 to 7 point type of game. But I'm just saying the questions I have for Iowa State were up front. And rain or not, like up front, they were really, really, really solid on both sides of the ball. It took a little bit on offense. They were not good in the first half up front on the offensive line. But that's I know what you got in Rocco. I know that really good at tight end, really good at linebacker, elite corner. But it was more like the defensive line. And I'm not going to crown these guys, but Orange looked. If Orange can have that type of performance, it really lessens your worries that you have on the edge, just because of the type of game that he was able to put together. And that was kind of the narrative coming out of Ames beneath the surface, that Dominic had really grown up and finally paying attention to nutrition and done all this stuff. So to me, like, that's where I can take the most from this. Because, again, like I was completely confident in Rocco Becht. I have no question marks about him. Thought he would evolve. The wide receivers were encouraging to me, Dom Overby specifically. And because those transfer wide receivers, it always takes them a while. Like, I wasn't expecting much from those two transfers really until Big 12 play like officially begins when they're not in week 0. I don't think they'll be that much of a factor against Iowa. Like that'll be a October conversation.
Well, that was one of Civ's questions on YouTube is why did they use the wide receivers so little?
Because that's just, you go back to every good NFL guys, Jaden Higgins, Xavier Hutchinson, transfer wide receivers never come in and produce until about halfway through the year. It's just timing. You know, this is like a real game, right? Like, Rocco was going to the guys he's worked with for the last 2 years.
Also, you have just as many tight ends on the field, sometimes more than wide receivers.
I counted a couple times watching it back, and I didn't get to watch it as closely as I usually like. I'll do that before Thursday's show. But there were times where they were playing 4 tight ends, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, when Bramer's out there, it's like we're calling him a tight end, but he's really just a giant target in the slot. I mean, it's really what it is. But, yeah, the rain certainly impacted it, but I think Iowa State was the better team. Like, I think if they would play again, like, they would be the favorite in this one, and I think rightfully so.
Well, you might think that, but have you seen ESPN's updated FPI?
No. Please enlighten me.
Okay. Here's the top 25. You see Kansas State at number 21.
Still at 21.
No Iowa State. Where do you think Iowa State is?
Well, where did they start?
Iowa State started at 33.
Well, so Kansas moved into it with that convincing win over Fresno, and they were really good, by the way. I did get to watch a lot of Kansas looked great.
Yeah, Kansas moved up 1 spot to 25. Kansas State dropped 3 spots to 21 after losing on a neutral field to Iowa State. Where are the Cyclones?
28?
31.
So they only moved up 2 spots on the
beat
FPI.
The number 18 team in this ranking on a neutral field and only moved up 2 spots.
All right, let's do this then while we're talking about this. So every Monday, thanks to our friends at Big Grove, did you have any Big Grove beer when you were back?
I did have some Big Grove beer. Yeah, I got some Big Grove beer. It's fantastic. Is it Easy Eddie?
Grove. Yeah, I love Big Grove.
That's one of my favorites.
Yeah. We started off with Easy Eddie was one of the reasons why Williams ballooned to 315 pounds a couple of years ago, because those were going down a little bit too easy for old C. Willie.
I love their spot in downtown Des Moines. I like their Sherman Hill champagne because it's lighter. Have you ever had the Sherman Hill champagne?
You have champagne taste? No, I've never had that one.
It's their lightest beer. But anyways, our friends at Big Grove are going to sponsor me giving you guys my updated top 16.
Mm-hmm.
And I full disclosure, I haven't done that this week because we didn't have a poll after week 0. So we're starting we had our preseason poll, and then the official polling will begin next Sunday.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see. I'm almost positive there's no update in like the AP poll or the coaches poll, anything like that after week 0, because only 10 teams played.
I would have had Iowa State, and I didn't do a top 25 because we do the top 16. I would have definitely had Iowa State anywhere from like 19 to 23 in my preseason poll. Would they have, in your opinion, if you had my poll, would you have moved Iowa State into the top 16 after that win?
Yes.
Yeah.
What are polls? Polls are? You can look at them one of 2 ways. Are they power ratings, or are they based on results? The FPI is based on a power rating. Polls should be based on results. Iowa State has the best win of the year, the only win over a ranked team on a neutral field. I would put them at number 16.
Full disclosure, I didn't have Kansas State in my top 16. I'm not as high. I wasn't as high on them as everybody else was. So, yeah, I would definitely move them up, though. I think that they deserve that. And, I mean, whatever. Like, Kansas State had to play in the rain too, and that's football, right? It could be rainy at Kinnick Stadium on Saturday. It could be rainy in Texas, Ohio State this weekend. You do what you can. And
Speaking of that, though, it sounds like it's going to be incredible weather all over the country for week 1.
Oh my gosh! I was just looking ahead for my camping forecast.
Man. I was so sad to leave that weather yesterday and fly back home to Florida. It feels like fall.
Yeah, it felt like fall on Saturday for Iowa State's game.
Yeah.
Imagine that game happening in Ames. My God. It would have been beautiful. Well, it's going to be basically the same on Saturday against South Dakota. Hey, did you guys see the updated Big 12 champion odds? Williams, you know where Kansas State... Guess where Kansas State fell to?
They didn't move much from what...
They did.
Well, okay, so the ones Bloom gave me last night, I asked him to do this on our podcast. Give them to me, Matt, because
they're down to 8th. They're down to plus 1,200.
Well, I mean, with the tiebreakers,
as they
that
should
makes
be.
sense.
Yeah, I mean, so that's the swing in this thing. Because Kansas State, let's be honest, to guarantee a spot in the Big 12 championship game, they have to win every Big 12 game the rest of the way now.
Yep.
Because we had 2 teams last year that went 7-2 and didn't get to play for a championship. So I would even put them longer than that. There's no way I'm touching that at 12-1. What surprises me, though, Van Woke, as you bring these up, is that Iowa State still is behind 4 teams. I mean, they're sitting there at plus 800, tied for the 5th shortest odds. I mean, how about, Texas Tech is the favorite at plus 550 with Arizona State. And then Utah and Baylor are plus 650. And then it's Iowa State and TCU at 8-1. Where's the... That's surprising to me.
But at this point, isn't Iowa State a decent little play there at 800?
Hey, absolutely.
That's what I thought, yeah. Because this was the big caveat for them. There's not much of a difference. You can get 5th and be 1st at the end of the regular season and hardly have any difference in the team. That's what sucks about these big conferences.
Just think of the leg up that Iowa State has on everyone right now. They not only do they have a win in conference, they have a win against a team that was one of, if not the favorite in the conference. So they already have one of their toughest games of the season is already out the way. And that's considered a road game. They didn't lose a home game there. The schedule now sets up where you're going to have more home games. That is a huge leg up. And there's a ton of value on Iowa State at 8-1 right now.
I want to do this right now. I want to go long because it's on topic, and then we will move on to the rest of college football. And, of course, Iowa kicks off its season this week as well. Let's go long with our friends from Wealth Charter.
It's time to go long with Wealth Charter Retirement Planning and Tax.
Shout out to Wealth Charter Retirement Planning and Tax. It is already time to start planning for 2026 and take it off your plate. Your one-stop shop for all things finances. Our friends at Wealth Charter. Thank you, Tim Hawkins, and your team for supporting everybody here at Iowa Everywhere. This was a good example. The pregame atmosphere in Ireland was the coolest thing I've ever experienced, other than being at a Vikings playoff game. And that's different because that's, you're just with everybody in your tribe, and it's just it was like a Red River shootout type thing. Half the stadium was red. Half the stadium was purple.
Did the Cyclone fans follow through in the call to arms from Pollard to wear Cardinal? It seemed like they did.
But then you also, I explained this to somebody from the athletic department before the game. My wife didn't know about it.
Your wife didn't know that Pollard begged, got on his hands and knees.
But my wife
begged?
doesn't do social media and all that stuff. So I don't know. The problem is that they just do have a lot of colors. This has always been a problem with Iowa State. Remember when they were blue?
Oh, yeah.
So, my wife and kids were wearing black. Not ideal, but...
Are you kidding? You let this happen?
Well, I didn't pack... My wife packed for the kids for Europe so early when we got back from the... so, anyways...
So was Campbell talking to your wife in the post game when he was talking
Campbell
about the black?
Was pissed at my wife.
You guys hear that?
I just wanted to go long on this. This was a great example because I had honestly one of the highlights of my trip was getting to know Kansas State fans. Those two universities are so close to one another as far as their culture and just being the farm schools for the uppity, pinky in the air institutions on the other side of the state, the elitism of the University of Iowa and Kansas. Like, they have so much in common. Manhattan and Ames are very similar. But this was a great example of that college football, pure college football outside of the Big Ten and the SEC is still a very big deal, and for what it represents. And I hope I did see some national people. I hope it came across on television to show how cool this atmosphere and event was when you had two. Because, again, this Ireland game is usually like one big fan base and then the other one kind of just sprinkled in. It's usually Nebraska and Northwestern, Florida State, Georgia Tech, Notre Dame and Navy, right? Like It was an awesome atmosphere, and it reinvigorated to me like how passionate people are about their schools, not about going 12-0, although that helps. But I was in the Kansas State section because that's like where the media was, and this was like a Kansas State home game, so they had all their pregame, like at Jack Trice when the sirens go off and when at Kinnick with the back and black. So all of that was like a Kansas State home game. And seeing these Kansas State fans holding their kids, singing their alma mater song, and like this really matters. Like, and we can't forget that going into the new era of whatever college football is going to be, chasing money. Stuff like this still matters, and we have to find a way to keep that in the sport. You can't just alienate and kick all the other conferences out. It'd be a massive mistake because there's so much interest and there's so much passion that these smaller, I don't call them smaller schools, they just happen to have smaller populations, and 100 years ago people made decisions about how conferences were going to be. That's really how this goes. But it was just a really neat deal, and I hope it came across on television.
Yeah, well said. And I think it came across exactly how you would want it to if you're the Big 12, because, yeah, you might not be the best conference in the entire country, but damn, it's fun to watch on a game-by-game, week-by-week basis. This is what it is. It's just kind of fun, back and forth, gets a little silly, gets a little wild. Remember the whole Pac-12 After Dark thing from back in the day? Well, now it's kind of shifted. Big 12. I mean, some of these teams are over now. And this is what you get. You just get a fun conference where it seems like every game is interesting. And hell yeah, it matters. You kidding me? I mean, Iowa State fans, how giddy they probably have been this weekend, and I think that's going to translate and move on into the next few weeks as well, because you wake up every day and you're sitting at the top of the conference with a win over your rival and a win over a team you might not play in a little bit.
Shout out to my wife real quick. She is watching, and she texted that she had already packed before they put out the Cardinal thing.
No.
And a lot of people had already left the country.
Oh.
So
he's too late. He was too late on the plea.
Yeah. But anyways, we had a great time.
Did you see Campbell after the game, though, storming back into the press conference? And I know you had the clip on Cyclone Fanatic.
I got the clip if you want to hear it.
Yeah, to talk about the wearing black.
That's that.
Hey, somebody asked me a question. Hey, I'm going to finish with this. Now, Rob, you got to ask me a question about the color black. Because I heard their athletic director made a comment about the color black. Could you give us a question about why Iowa State wears black? Yeah, why is it? Well, Rob, we don't really care what color we wear, okay? Like, it's never been about a jersey color for us. It's never been about any of that. It's been about team, togetherness, and playing winning football. So I appreciate the question. Go Cyclones. All right. Good job, Coach.
He was in a good mood.
I think that just probably relief. That trip is a big deal, like with the sleep and then, to be able to win it. And you're planning that trip for a year. And that's so vintage Matt. Like
that's you think that's vintage Matt? Because I'm going to go the other way.
Well,
like, that's a side you just don't see from him.
I know,
which is
Matt.
Why I kind of like it.
I know Matt differently than you do.
Right.
That is him. That is Matt.
But he never lets us see it.
Correct. He doesn't show it very often. But
So
that he'll find the tiniest thing and and he'll hold on to it for 2 years.
It took taking him to Ireland to get him to open up. Jeez.
And the Kansas State
I agree
AD
with where you're going with this,
poking at
though.
him.
I want Matt to show that more because he's so cool and he's such a neat human. But he turns into that robot, right? But go ahead. I'll let you. No,
No,
because I think you're going to make a great point.
A lot of fans, like Iowa fans, or fans of Kansas State, they thought that was kind of cringy that he came in and did that, and it was kind of a rah rah. It doesn't matter what color we wear. So like The Rock, it doesn't matter. But I liked seeing it because we don't get to see much personality from Matt Campbell in the media, especially during the season, and you saw what a huge victory this was for him.
And we also need to acknowledge his record over Kansas State as of late.
He's won 5 of the last 6.
Just really dominant over that team that used to, I think you noted in our rundown, I think you used the word kryptonite. Kansas State used to be for Iowa State. It's really been a give me this stat here. This is a good one you came up with.
Iowa State's won 7 of the last 8 one-possession games. And prior to this streak, which started against Kansas State in the snow game 2023, they had lost 10 of 11 one-possession games. And that was one of those narratives, right? That, geez, anytime the game was close, Iowa State would drop it. Anytime the spread was under 3.5 either way, Iowa State was going to lose the game. That narrative is done. And Kansas State, kryptonite, well, they've played them 3 times in the last, however many games, going back to the end of 2023, and they're 3-0, all 3 wins by 1 possession. That's pretty impressive. And Iowa State, going into that game against Kansas State 2023, they had lost, I think it was 9 straight games against ranked teams. Since then, they're 4-1 against ranked teams.
Better special teams and really good quarterback play. I mean, that's
Rocco Becht is I think the main reason for this, because you have a quarterback that makes winning plays down the stretch. You have a quarterback you can trust.
He's always better in the second half than he is the first, for one reason or another. All right, before we move on to Iowa, I want to do our solid and thank our friends over at Freedom Tire. Again, I have more appreciation for tire health on a vehicle than ever after driving in Ireland for a week. My God. I will say, I wish that Freedom Tire had a location at the Dublin airport, because people are just bringing back their vehicle, just beating the shit out of these things. And Quentin, that would be a good investment for you. Supply tires to the Dublin airport with everybody just jumping these curbs. What a disaster.
I think we're giving away our next set of tires on Thursday.
Thursday we are. Okay,
yeah,
great.
Monday is September, so we got to give one away in August. So
okay, so go to iowaeverywhere.com and the contest page.
Yep.
If you haven't ordered or if you haven't jumped in there yet. Also, our friends at Game Day Men's Health. T-shots made it across the pond. They were administered. Very lovely note that my doctor Christy wrote in case the people at TSA were curious about why I'm carrying big syringes around. Oh my God, the Dublin airport, the carry-on security at the Dublin airport is a totally different game than what we experience in the States. Like like when you put your carry-on through the security thing, and like some of them will get flagged and go over there. Like 3/4 of them get flagged. Nothing makes it through at the Dublin airport. Oh
God, that sounds horrible.
And it's never anything. It's like a thing of deodorant, or they stop. There's no way I would have gotten my T-shots back.
I got stopped when I was flying back to Iowa because I had my podcast microphone.
Oh, yeah.
I had that in my backpack. And so they flagged that. They looked at it like, what are you, a podcaster or something? I said,
Matter of fact, I am.
I am. I'm one of the guys named Chris.
Let's thank our friends at Kelderman Manufacturing with this week's Triple B.
Bigger, better, bolder. Built by Kelderman Manufacturing.
I'm going to start and go with Guinness, the beer. I've not had one yet. I'm going to take about a week off. curious to see how it tastes after being over there, coming back. I've always liked Guinness. I have a totally new appreciation for the beer after being over in what our friend Keith Murphy calls the motherland. It is so good, and you don't feel like shit after you drink it. This is me and Carper drinking a Guinness. This was at
weird.
4:15.
That's weird for a stout to not make you feel that way.
Yeah, I did go through their tour and did all that, which was awesome. That was one of the highlights of my trip personally. This is us at 4:15 in the morning Dublin time. I had not gone to sleep. This is catching our flight back. And what a deal it was, because we had 2 stops. So we had to fly from Dublin to Amsterdam to Minneapolis. And we had like an hour and 10-minute layover in between all of them. So we had no room for air. And we had to do customs when we got back to Minneapolis.
Oh.
It was
sounds horrific.
It was tight. It was nerve-wracking, but we didn't have a single travel problem the whole time other than missing getting on the wrong ferry, which was totally self-inflicted.
Thanks, Carper.
But no, I have a new appreciation for Guinness. And I'm going to start drinking it more because I truly enjoy it more than like the light beers that you have here. But I don't know if it's going to translate. I wonder if that trip is going to ruin it for me as well. But Guinness, there you go. My triple B. Brilliant.
I put down a 6-pack of Guinness during the game. I forgot how much I like that stuff. It's only like 5%. Well, the one I had was you get the heavy one. You can get 6%. But it's good stuff.
Dude, it's less alcohol over there, though.
Oh, really?
I was told because they put more alcohol when they ship it over here because it keeps it better.
Oh, so it definitely is going to be different than when you have it over here compared to there.
Yeah.
And you're probably having it on tap the whole time. It'll be different. We'll see.
And over there, when you buy it, even in a store, like at a gas station, if you're going to buy a 6-pack of Guinness, you can buy it with the tapper.
Oh.
So you can pour it like in a certain way.
Okay.
Yeah. It's more expensive, but it likely makes it a lot better. What are you going with, Hassel?
Well, I'm going with Samson on Twitter.
Oh, Samson, eh?
Did you see this? He had an incredible thrift store find last week. He found this red sweatshirt that says the Clorinda Treatment Complex. And it's like the buildings. Is that the insane asylum? What is that?
That's
the academy?
The insane asylum where my grandpa was the warden.
So the treatment complex is just the insane
asylum?
asylum?
We had a whole treatment complex where we had the insane asylum next to the prison.
He found this at Goodwill.
Is the academy on that as well?
Well, this is likely a gym that Samson found that is probably before the Clorinda Academy was even in existence.
Really? So he said it was $1. He spent $1 on this sweatshirt.
That's iconic. Do we not have the greatest audience in the world? That's the coolest freaking thing I've ever heard in my life.
If you look closely, if you squint just a little bit and look inside that second floor window of the treatment complex, you can see Williams's grandfather electrocuting a young woman who went crazy after having her first kid.
Samson wants you to pay up $1,000 for this thing, Hassel. So I don't know.
1,000, yeah. Wow. I mean, it's worth more than the $1, but what a find! Holy shit!
What a gym!
Great job, Samson.
God bless you. That's
Imagine
the type of iconic stuff that keep me going in this business.
Imagine just flipping through the racks at Goodwill. Clorinda Treatment. What? Only our listeners would
I have
know.
a long heritage with corrections in the town. My mom worked there for 40 years. My grandpa was the warden.
Yeah.
I've called all those Clorinda Academy games.
Think of all the people probably walking around society right now who got zapped by your grandpa.
No, those people are probably all dead. They probably
shocked.
They're buried in the cemetery across the way.
Maddie, who are you going with?
Let me give a shout out to the Iowa State marketing department for this cool deal they did during the game. So they opened up Hilton Coliseum for this just students only. Fans couldn't come to this. They put it on that big screen inside of Hilton now that they just installed.
That's really cool.
Wasn't it cool?
So I saw video of fans at Hilton, and I was like, what the hell is this? Because I didn't hear anything about it.
I didn't know they were doing this.
Is this video from a basket?
No, this is from
it was.
the
They
game
actually
launch.
had it in there. Why did we not see more of this? Why
think
didn't
they did? I think they showed it maybe one time.
ESPN had that horrible grainy camera
phone,
at some
Dublin
Ames
Bay.
bar.
Yeah,
Dublin Bay. That was the
it was
Irish
Dublin
bar.
Bay.
Yep.
They never said what bar it was. When they could have had video of this.
So the students
Really,
first day
really
of classes
good
today.
views. Yeah, I agree with you, Chris. This should have been all over the place.
Yeah. So it was the first day of class. So the students were all moving back in. They were all looking for a place to watch the game. They're like, let's just open up Hilton.
So
Normally
these
they
are
have
the
that.
students that don't drink because everybody else is just like jumping off table. Like
Well,
trees
I think a
and-
lot of these, Chris, remember Destination Iowa State, all the big freshman deal, they bring you
so
all at
it's-
Hilton. So this has basically replaced that. So
It's all the freshmen.
yes.
Sam thinks they might have sold beer at Hilton because Pollard was out of the country. Wasn't there to tell him no.
Serving beer to the underage freshmen.
Does that lead
Really
us
good.
into our next discussion? Did you hear
Well-
about this Pollard deal?
Well, we can do that. We do need to hit on Iowa too, and we're running low
let's
on
go on
time. So,
Iowa.
yeah, we should probably hit on Iowa being a 37.5 point favorite over Albany on Saturday. For notable, Iowa State is a 15.5 point favorite over South Dakota. But let's move on to the Hawks.
Yeah, it's finally game week, and it's an exhibition game, but I don't really mind it. I don't mind it this year with Gronowski and the slow start that he had in camp, where he was, he couldn't throw for a while, coming off that surgery. You've got a lot of new pieces. Caleb Johnson is gone. You've got a new linebacking core and a defense that needs to ramp back up. I'm okay with seeing an exhibition game week one. I'm okay with this. But the problem is then they'll play UMass after Iowa State, so they're going to have another one of these stupid ass games. But I'm really interested. I don't think Iowa's going to put a lot on tape for Iowa State. I think they're going to try to see that as an advantage, that Iowa State showed a lot and they're not going to have to. But I do want to see what Gronowski can do, and I do want to see is this offensive line going to be as dominant as they were a season ago? Because I think that's where, outside of Gronowski, that's the most important thing offensively to me.
And forgive me, I haven't done a lot of work on this game yet. For obvious
Has
reasons.
anyone?
Yeah. Well,
do we really need to do a lot of work on the Albany game?
Albany's really bad, though, right? Like
Yeah.
even by an
Yes.
FCS.
All you have to do is look at the point spread. I mean, you compared the point spread.
I
Albany
would play Iowa here.
Albany versus South Dakota, and what the difference is 25 points almost, right? Because it was 37.5.
What
And
you do,
South
if you
Dakota's what, 15-point dog against Iowa State?
if you want action this weekend, you play a teaser where you tease Albany down, so it'd be Iowa at like 31.5 or whatever points, and then take more points for South Dakota, so get them at about 20. That's the way to play this. I think Iowa will kill Albany just by doing nothing, just by showing.
Yeah, just piss pound them.
Yeah, I just can't imagine this. And then, in South Dakota, you're doing this just purely on the spot that Iowa State is in coming back. Bloom pointed out last night on our show that South Dakota has a lot of starters to replace, but they're still one of those FCS programs that's just good. They have a really good quarterback. But I feel like Iowa will win. Iowa could score 50 in this game.
The only thing that I would push back on that a little bit is I really do think they're going to be cognizant of what they run. I think
Yeah,
that
but I
a lot
don't
of
know
it
if they're going to have to do anything.
Are they going to be able to just run the ball up the middle and win 50-0? I don't know. Maybe.
We had a good text thread last night. I think we all kind of came to the same conclusion where it's like, because we were talking about, Chad and Scott, and you can listen to Legends and Listeners, of course, every week on Iowa Everywhere. They both have Iowa at 10-2 and in the playoff.
That's stunning to me. And Stuart Mandel has Iowa in the playoff.
Well, I on the flight back, I couldn't sleep, and I wanted to read what everybody thought about the game. And I looked at Doc and Stuart Mandel's bowl projections. and they had Iowa in the playoff.
Are we missing something?
I don't. Maybe I don't know.
I
had them at 8-4.
We both had Iowa at 8-4, and I feel like Iowa's going to have to win some. I have Iowa at 8-4, and I have them beating Indiana and Oregon and Nebraska. I think Iowa could have a successful season at 8-4. I think they could have a season at 8-4 where even Iowa fans feel good about it. If you beat it in Oregon or a Penn State, if you're in every game. But 10-2, their win total 7.5. I hope to God that they're right. That would be unbelievable. I'm stunned that they're both in lockstep on this, Chad and Scott. And look, they're not saying that this is going to happen. It's just it's a prediction, it's a projection, and I give them credit for sticking their neck out like that on a bold. That's a really bold prediction, 10-2.
Especially with this schedule, like it's not.
It's a much tougher schedule than Iowa's used to playing. I think it's the toughest schedule they've played in 15 plus years. I just still I have so many questions about Gronowski and about this defense. And I'm also not buying that this receiving core is Marvin McNutt and DJK all over again. Now, I think they'll be better, but to get to 10-2, remember the points? But we looked up the point spreads on some of these big Iowa games this year before the season, and weren't they like 2 touchdown underdogs to both Penn State and Oregon at home?
Yeah, they were like 15-point underdogs, I want to say, to Penn State.
So Doc has them projected to make the playoff and play at Clemson in the first round as a 9 seed. And make no mistake, if Iowa is 10-2, Iowa will be in the playoff.
Do you realize how much my mom would hate that game?
And then the winner would play Penn State. Believe.
Jesus.
That's what he has.
It's like Mom's two arch rivals, Iowa and Clemson.
They know Iowa more than I do. They're on the ground with these guys. They're talking to the players. They're talking to the coaches on and off the record. But God, if Iowa wins 10 games, I will be stunned.
What's tricky for me as a true outsider here is that Iowa, the Lester thing, I still don't know, because I think McNamara was just really, really horrible.
He is. He was.
Yeah, truly.
I'm a real believer in Tim Lester.
And I think I am too. I don't know if I'm a real believer, but I think I'm more of a believer than I was, just based on some of the things I saw. I guess my question is, he's kind of a wrinkle here because I don't feel like it's the same old Iowa. And we've seen like a leak in this defense for a while now, where it used to be you could just rely on Parker's defense, forcing turnovers. You always had that ball hawk somewhere in the secondary with King and with Cooper and, all those guys. I feel like it wouldn't shock me if I think it would shock me if they were 10-2, but it wouldn't shock me, I guess. And it wouldn't shock me if they were 7-5. I just feel like there's a bunch of unknowns here. And I don't truly feel like I know much about the Hawkeyes, where it used to be like elite special teams, elite defense, and then we'll see. Or
yeah, there's so many unknowns to me, and that's why I'm okay with this exhibition game to start. But I'm going to fall back on, I'm guessing their defense is better than people think, and their offense won't be as good, and it'll be somewhere in the middle. But I don't think that Gronowski can possibly be as good as the price tag, the reported price tag of a couple $1 million. But he is a winner. You got so many toss-up games here, and you're really betting on them winning all of these toss-up games, like in Iowa State, like in Indiana. I mean, do you really think they're going to go to USC and win? I don't. At Nebraska, I don't know, man. I can see them winning. I could see them having a great season and winning 9 games. I don't know. I don't know how they get to 10 with this schedule, unless some of these teams that we think are, maybe Oregon's not gonna be that good. Maybe USC's going to totally fall apart, and that's going to be the end of the Lincoln Riley era by the time Iowa goes there. Maybe Wisconsin is still just absolute shit. Maybe they go in and they beat Iowa State, a likely, top 15 Iowa State team, at least top 20 in Ames again. But
I'll be interested when
all
power
that
ratings.
stuff has to happen for Iowa to win 10 games.
I'll be interested to see power ratings from Vegas today, not the FPI.
Well, if you're curious,
I want to see what they moved.
and I know
Iowa
that
State
you
to.
are, about where Iowa stands in the FPI, Iowa is ahead of Iowa State by 1. Iowa is 30th in the FPI, Iowa State 31st.
Well,
can I do have a gripe. And we hit on this a lot last year. But it's another goddamn night game for Iowa. Now, it's a little earlier
it's
in
5,
the evening.
right?
It's like 5 p.m. Central, but that's 6 p.m. for me.
What is that? Big Ten Network, I would assume? It's a weird time for a game. Like what? Who's televising?
Just had that up. Let me pull
That
it
is
back
not
up.
like in the college football time thing.
It is FS1.
Oh, interesting.
It's an FS1 game.
Well, that I do like. Are they after Iowa State? I swear Iowa State was FS1 at 2:30.
Oh, so you think that they follow each other on FS1?
Maddie, could you look that up for us?
No. Iowa State's on Big Fox.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
They got that game on Big Fox. So this is now a major trend. These night games, especially for Iowa in this new Big Ten package that they have schedule-wise. 3 of the first 4 games that Iowa plays are night games. The only one that's not is the game at Iowa State. Massachusetts is 6:30. At Rutgers is on a Friday night at 7. And so going back to last year now, when you add in 3 of these first 4 games are night games, 4 of the last 6 last season were night games. So we're at a stretch now where 7 of 10 Iowa games are going to be night games. God damn it. Whatever happened to the 11 a.m. kickoff at Kinnick Stadium? We're getting it in names, but I'm tired of this. Can we play during the day?
The problem is you guys have so many TV partners. In
I
the
know.
Big Ten.
It's all spread out, and, you got...
They want everything in prime time if they can get it.
It drives me nuts. Come on. It used to be only the biggest games were at night. Now you get Albany and UMass at night. God.
Matt, can you pull up the college football schedule for this weekend, just like with the top 25?
Oh my God. It is titillating. And everything, look, on week 1, you get some better Thursday games than you're ever going to get during the season because
no NFL.
There's no NFL.
Yeah.
So they're not afraid of the NFL. So you actually get some really good matchups on Thursday.
Friend of the program, listener of the program, Alex Golish kicking the season off.
That's right.
South Florida, go Bulls.
Hosting number 25
That's a
Boise
good game.
State.
That's a fun game. It kicks off at 4:30 on Thursday.
Matt Berry is going to be calling that game.
Really?
Why is that at 4:30?
Well, it's 5:30 in Florida, and they probably just giving them an early kick because they wanted to get in a new window.
I know why. Because they want a doubleheader. They have Nebraska-Cincinnati on ESPN after that.
Yep.
And that game's at Arrowhead. Nebraska, a 6.5-point favorite from ESPN Bet.
So then you have Ohio State and Texas on Big Fox, the big noon kickoff. 1 versus 3.
Oh, my God.
Bama, Florida State. You've got...
Bama, Florida State's in the next window, right? That's the 2:30 window.
Yep. I mean, this is really a day if you're just a college football fan. Like, of course, I want to be in Ames, but I mean, at 6:30, you've got LSU, Clemson. This would be a good day to not go to the game.
What would you rather watch in that time frame? Would you rather watch LSU, Clemson, or Albany at Iowa? Well, I'll be watching Albany at Iowa.
And then you don't forget about the Sunday and Monday games. Mike Cox,
right,
against Virginia Tech. And then Sunday night, you've got Notre Dame, Miami. And then there's a good game Monday, too, isn't it? TCU and North Carolina is on Monday night.
Yeah.
Belichick's college debut. So and Thursday's show will be fun because we got all those games Thursday night. We'll have the extra juices flowing on Thursday's show.
Yes, it'll be the first, full college football weekend of the year. Iowa is going to get into the mix, and we're going to get going. We are going to get man. It was weird for me though, waking up watching a game at 11 a.m. because I'm used to East Coast and the first game's at noon, and we were up late the night before. It was like it came too early, but give me an 11 a.m. kickoff anytime over this late night garbage.
Matt's been around me on game days, and like I have a really hard time focusing on anything but work on any day that the Cyclones play. It's just that was hell waiting until 5 in Dublin. I was up at like 6. I just couldn't sleep anymore, and I was so pissed because I knew this was the last sleep I was going to get until I got back to Iowa because I cannot sleep on planes.
You don't seem too bad though.
Well, I went to bed last night about 8:30. I woke up at about 4:30. I forced myself to stay in bed. I couldn't really sleep anymore. I'm fine.
I would have been. There's no way I could have done what you did. My body wouldn't be able to handle that.
I dozed on the plane, but it was never. I had a 6-year-old on top of me. Like it was not great. And then I was just anxious because any sort of delay, we were screwed. I knew that. Like we literally on both of those flights, we were very fortunate. We walked up to the gate and they were starting to board.
That's you're lucky.
With 2 international connections. Yeah. But I appreciate everybody for following along. The content I was doing from Ireland got an insane amount of interaction.
Great stuff.
The numbers on those things were so people really seem to enjoy it. I'm glad. Shout out to my wife. That was all her idea. And thanks to Channel Seed for sponsoring that throughout the last, 10 days. It feels like I left 3 weeks ago. But I'm so glad to be back. So Murph and Andy will come on today. Of course, all of our Iowa Everywhere programming coming up this week, which will be great. Overthinking did a great show from Vegas. Thank all those folks.
Yeah, I still need to catch up on Overthinking and Happy Hour from Las Vegas.
Happy Hour. I was lifting in Dublin at my hotel, and I may have injured my left arm because I couldn't hold on to my weights because of something that Jenny Murphy said.
You know what? That's happened to me several times listening to the Murph and Andy show over the years because I usually listen when I'm working out. I've almost killed myself with weights.
Yeah, I can't listen to Jenny Murphy. Owns me. Like I think she's the funniest person in the world, and I cannot listen to that show when I'm exercising anymore. I've lesson learned. She's talking about a woman who was dressed as a nun with her breasts hanging out on Fremont Street.
I saw a picture of that.
Yeah, Kelderman sent that to us.
We saw that lady when we were there. Remember, Williams? The nuns?
Oh, yeah.
They had the tape across their, yeah.
So were they hot nuns?
Well, if you're into that sort of thing.
But were they like old, saggy nun boobs?
I would say it's more the latter, yeah. Look at that beautiful schedule right there. Ben Bruns and Aiden Wyatt had a great Cyclone Sunday. I think Bruns is the best Cyclone football analyst there is.
I listened to that on the plane on the way back.
Sees the game so differently. Mm-hmm. Go listen to that if you're an Iowa State fan and you haven't already.
Instant Iowa, baby.
Instant Iowa, yeah. You ready for your?
We're back.
You and late night for you.
God, I know. That's what. God, please.
10 o'clock, maybe.
Yeah, it will be. It'll be because the game starts at 6 Eastern, a little after 6 Eastern. Yeah, we'll be on. I'll be on well past 10:30, I'm sure.
Look at that lineup, though. Remember when it was us doing this show the first time with your mic backwards?
Yeah.
With that awful little square logo.
It was our show, and what else? You had like the CW, or it was a Miller and Williams. Yep. And then like Miller just went AWOL, and I went to listen to Miller and Williams one week, and it was like, oh, well, they haven't posted a show in 6 months.
Miller just kind of got out the game. He's still around. I talk to him all the time.
We had Rose and Bloom.
Yeah, Rose and Bloom.
I hung out with Rose or with Sage a lot in Dublin. That was fun. Good to see him. He still pays attention to what we're doing. We're going to get him on a CW pod, I think, before the NFL kicks off because he's still really locked into that NFL thing. So, all right, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it. Hanging out with us. Thanks to our presenting sponsor, as always, Fairway Meat and Grocery.
We're back, baby.
Murph and Andy coming up today. Oh, there's Fairway Frank. Love it. Murph and Andy today at 1. Please like, subscribe, review, and we'll be back on Thursday, 8:30 here on Iowa Everywhere.